Hello, welcome pen friends. Welcome to day 16 of 30 Inks 30 Days. It's a challenge put out by Ink Journal where you use one ink and one pen per day. Now it can be the same pen or a different pen, but we're changing inks every day. So here is my color for today. It's Map of Mars by Colorverse, and this is actually from Ink Flight 31. And it is part of the season 5 from Colorverse, and it's called Red Planet. So it's a beautiful teal, and we're going to take a real close look at it. Here it is in the little our map, you know, the little calendar, I guess. So we're filling it right up. So let's go over to our page. Okay, maybe we ought to cover up yesterday's purple. It'll be very distracting if we don't. Okay, so here it is in the broad nib. This ink is widely available, so check your favorite places, but it seems to retail pretty consistently for $36. I know that there are times when you can get it cheaper, and let me know if you hear of any different places that may be running specials. I'd love to hear about it. Now this one comes with a 65 ml round bottle of this ink, and then it also has a 15 ml of Mars Attack, which is a red. Now that didn't come in as my alternate ending, so I don't know exactly what that looks like, but so here it is. It took about 35 seconds to dry. It was still smearing at 30, and then in the stub nib it was dry at 30, and that was good for me. I was happy with that. Now, I started seeing shading from the beginning. It may be hard to show you. Let's see if we can get this close enough. Yeah, maybe we can. See, there was a lot of color variation right from the beginning in this. And that's in that Serendipity hybrid pen. And then the same thing down here. Let me hold that up close. Lots of shading. I would call that way better than average. Like nice, just nice. Okay, so let's see, where are we? Fine nib, I had a little trouble at first, and I did have to prime the feed and work on it just a little bit. Not sure why, except that I am trying to deal with 3 pens with 2 mils of ink, and one is a dip pen, so it can get pretty crazy. But down here at the bottom, it was a little better, and we're going to see it other places too. I still was shading, even though things seemed to be going wrong, and I did fix it. I came back in and I verified it was still 20 seconds to dry. So here's the chromatography on this one. Woo, look at that. Blue, and then we go up to green, and then a little crust at the top. Very interesting. Okay, so let's look at how it did with the bath test. I like to do that, if I remember, to do it right with the chromatography. It's very typical, and it came off, but look how it stained the paper. You see, that doesn't normally happen, not always anyway. And you can faintly read, but not very good. So I would just predict, though, that this will be easy to clean out of the pen. I'll let you know tomorrow. Definitely yesterday's Straits Pen Honest Ink Bougainvillea Purple got an A in the clean out, which means gave me no trouble whatsoever. You know, when you're not even halfway through a bulb syringe through the Lamy and it's all clean, that's good. Okay, so we'll move this over and look at the Rhodia. Not so far we can't see it, hopefully. Okay, here we are on Rhodia 80 GSM dot grid paper. Very nice. I still see shading. I just felt like maybe it was a little less, maybe a little more subtle, but as far as the stub nib, I still see quite a bit. 25 seconds, it was so close to dry, I called it at that. And then down here in the stub nib, the Goulet 1.5, it was taking 35 seconds to dry, and slight smear at the end there you could still see. So just be careful with that. And then in the fine nib, things were all better because I had primed the feed, fixed it a little. That's not ever a problem when I have enough ink to draw right up out of the sample or out of the little ink miser. But sometimes when I'm having to syringe into the cartridge converter, things happen. So as long as I'm aware of it before I run through everything, I feel better about it. It was still smearing at 10 seconds, but I was pretty sure it would have been dry at 15, so I made like a road runner and kept going. And then note, Lamy fine nib, much better after I expelled some ink and tried again. Yeah, I worked on that just a little. Okay, well, we'll look on the backs after we see CVS caliber paper. Lightens considerably on CVS caliber paper, but I have to say that's really pretty. You know, I don't mind it. So, and it was coming out of that broad nib just fine on here. 20 seconds, it was nearly dry, very close to dry. And then in the stub nib, it was taking quite a bit longer, more like it did on the Tomoe River, 30 seconds. Nice consistent flow through that pen probably. Maybe why. We lose most of the shading, but we get a little bit. But boy, it's not, it does definitely lose shading on this cheap CVS caliber paper. In the Lamy fine nib, yeah, I didn't like it as much in the fine nib. That's just a personal thing though. Dry by 25 seconds in that nib. That's pretty strange, but you know, sometimes there's a lot of variety in those tests. We'd have to do multiple ones. Okay, so turning it over, this is what I love about this paper. You don't get bleed through with very many inks. I think like Noodler's Blue Bonnet was the only one I've had, so that's pretty good. Okay, then on the, we're just checking the other sides now. There's not even enough ghosting to even notice it. I can hardly see it on the back of the Rhodia. And generally we do get, oh shoot, okay, well we can still see. I taped in the, since we're going to be doing that whole ink flight in this one, I did tape in what came from Ink Journal, but we can still see underneath there. Yes, there is shadowing, ghosting, but it won't bother you once you get your writing over here or you tape something in, whatever the case may be. Okay, so there's that. Now, let's look at the comparison panel, which I have taken apart, because I felt like definitely this map of Mars looked more like itself on this little square than it did on my cola ring. It really didn't hold up too good on there, so let's see. Okay, so right in the middle is our ink of the day, map of Mars, beautiful teal. To my eye, it leans more toward green than blue, but it definitely has blue in it, and we saw that. But there's just like something I detect in here, and it was the same way for me with Diamine Aurora Borealis. I don't know if anybody else, you know, feels that way too, but that's just what I noticed. And Diatramentus Petrol, I felt, does the same thing. Whereas I really feel like Pilot Roshizuku Kujaku definitely leans blue, and you can see that even with the lights, camera, and the whole 9 yards. Same thing with Lamy Crystal, Amazonite. It's, you know, just enough to turn it over to be more blue, and I think that's important for us to kind of look at, because if you really like a lot of blue, you're gonna like Kujaku and Lamy Crystal Amazonite, and maybe even Steel Blue. It's much brighter and a different kind of tone. But if you like the greens, you may be after some of the other ones that I have too to show you. Like Emerald of Chivor. Well, that comes out, no, that comes out blue. Never mind. No, I'm misspeaking. Up here, did I mention that? Ferris Wheel Press Bluegrass Velvet. That's interesting. And that's got lots more blue, it seems, at least on its face anyway. Here's a darker one, but it does seem like it's just dialed the saturation right up, and many of you like that. Nice dark ink. So I haven't played with that one yet in a nib. Diamine Teal, that's a new sample here at the house. So let's see, Robert Oster Tranquility, that's down in the right corner. Yeah, that gets pretty green. Okay, let's see if this will stay where it's supposed to, because I've got some more. Okay, this one is one that's coming up in October. It's part of that series of 10 that Goulet Pens so generously sent for the channel, and it is blue, and it's really blue. It's maybe teal, but it's quite blue. And it's actually coming out even more blue through the camera, but we'll be taking a good look at it, and I think we'll get to see more. Oh, I could have sworn I put Colorverse Gravity Wave. When I started doing the profile, I was just sure that Colorverse Gravity Wave was going to be like a match, and this was the one last year that got me to spend my pen allowance on a bottle. And here we are with Colorverse again, and it's another really pretty ink. I believe I have several, though, that fall into that color, so thank goodness my pen allowance is not at risk. But, yeah, that's another one like that. And here is Emerald of Chivor, which it always looks really blue, and the camera kind of dials that even darker for us. But maybe if we already know what some of these look like, that'll help us place it. But Emerald of Chivor has that gold sheen on it, and quite a bit of gold and red on it, so it's very different. Very, very different. Okay, then what I would say lighter is Montegrappa turquoise, but that's, that's in line with steel blue almost, and so that's kind of out of there. Yeah, but I thought we'd look at it. And then one more. This was because I was so curious. How did it compare to Ackerman number 5, Israel's Zablu, which is sort of on the top of my list as the color that I really love. But it's so much bluer. See, it is even, yeah, in person, on camera, everywhere. So there we have it. Okay. It is a beautiful ink. But let's talk a little bit more about what I thought of it. Let's see. Okay, so this is the little ink swatch plot log by the Pen Thing, and I want to say, if you're super interested in this now, and you know that later on I'll be doing like a little review on it, but Chris Rapp 52 has done a review, and he is so much more experienced with all of this. So I would recommend you go there and watch it, because he did a really great review, and I picked up a few things. I learned a few things just from watching his review. So I'll link it down below. Not that I won't eventually do a review, but yeah, this delves into an area that I'm not as experienced with in any way, shape, or manner compared to him. But even, just as I go through the journey. So I would recommend that. But here it is on here, and I put beautiful color and impressive shading. It impresses. And I like shading, I fall for that. So I felt like the saturation was really good, so I gave it a high mark. And then on flow, definitely no issues on that. The issue I was having was trying to squeeze so much into such a small, time frame, and 2 mils of ink into 3 pans, that kind of thing. So we're not kind of evaluating bleeding and feathering right now because of the paper I'm using. Dry time I thought was average, so I put it in the middle. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff going on here that's me trying to work out a few things. Sheen, it's funny because I think of sheen, I don't like super heavy sheen, so I almost see sheen as a negative. There was sheen on this. Oh, I forgot to show you something, so let me drag it right over in front of me so I don't forget. I'll put it right here so I don't forget, because that can show the sheen. Yeah, and the sheen was present, but it wasn't overwhelming. So if it had been overwhelming, I'm not sure which way to go, whether to mark it low or mark it high. So these are things I'll learn. I didn't see any haloing, and there's no shimmer. But I gave the ink an 8 overall because I really like it. And just keep in mind, this is this is Chris, who hasn't been back in the hobby that many years. So it's just sort of a personal kind of a thing. But here, let's look at this. This is Tomoe River 52 GSM, and it did amazing things on here. And this is just, drawing it up into the syringe, then back in, all of the ink that I could detect back into the, that looks like it has a bunch, but it has hardly any, back into the vial, and then just over by the sink, letting it go. And it's got red sheen coming out like crazy. I wasn't detecting a lot of that in my writing, but we can look at it again just to see. Let's see. Come to think of it, I wonder. No, I really wasn't seeing it. I just wasn't seeing it, which is kind of good for me because I don't like overbearing sheen. I don't mind a little, and I definitely like it in art, and this is what I'd consider, something fun, like, not art necessarily, but therapeutic. Oh yeah, if I ever have a bad day, I'm gonna go get my old ink vials, and I'm gonna sacrifice an entire piece of Tomoe River paper just to have fun doing that. It would be just so much fun. So let's see what's next. Oh, let's let's do some Nick Stewart on this one and just see what happens. And then we can kind of look back. I guess I need some water here. At yesterday's, although yesterday's was kind of funny looking. It kind of changed the way the ink looked. And it dried funny. But I do like that one little tree there. That's cool. And this looks like there's like a storm or you're looking through a window or something. But that was fun. Okay, so I got pen. Paintbrush has already been cleaned. All right, nothing left but to start. Let's see what happens. This has been a busy day. I'm kind of fussy because I haven't had that much time to write today yet. So, and I've got a pen pal letter that's going to be in 2 colors, and that's the first time that's happened during this challenge. But I just couldn't finish it last night. I had lots more to say, and I didn't want to short the letter. So this is going to be a purple and teal letter for my pen friend. I don't think it'll be a bad thing. It'll be pretty, but... Huh, well that's not... Yeah, just not moving. Okay, didn't I say I was gonna... Let's see. We can always help it along and do some interesting kind of things just by rolling it. That's always fun. Okay. And then, I think... I'm going to do my bottom line first because that's plenty wet. I should be able to add detail. Whoop. Ooh, gonna travel. Oh, but that's not bad though. Sometimes that can be so interesting. I like to let it go in between and just kind of see what happens. Then let it travel down even more. Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't call this ink totally suitable for this, but it could just be this time. But usually if it's going to be suitable, it'll separate. The colors will separate and you'll get a little bit more interest right away. But whoa, okay. And didn't I just say I was more interested in creating a different sort of tree? Something not yet invented. Pretty. Oh, there's a lot of water right there. Let's see. Try for a little in-between spot. Little baby tree. Oh, neat. You know, some of the trunks around here are very textured, and that's becoming sort of, almost without even trying, it looks like a textured trunk. That's interesting. You can get something so different every single time. Wow, look at that. Then at the foot of that little tree over there, it looks like, you know, little ferns or something. That's kind of neat. All right, there we have it. Yay. Okay, so for tomorrow, we're going to be still in Colorverse, and we're going to be in blue, but it is more of a blue. It looks more like a blue-black to me. Ah! The camera's making it purple. What the devil? Oh my goodness. How? Okay, hold on. Well, I don't think that made a lot of difference. But anyway, to me it looks like blue-black, and it's coming through like a blurple, and it isn't, so I got more work to do. But this will be for tomorrow. It's called Mariner 4 by Colorverse. So, I think that's it for today, except for to ask you what you thought of this one, the Map of Mars by Colorverse. I like it. I like how it acted, and it's really pretty. Thankfully, I have quite a few colors, several samples, and many. Well, I've got that whole bottle of Gravity Wave, which even though it is different, it is in that area. And so, and I never forgot about Diamine Aurora Borealis. I thought that perhaps a small bottle of that would be in my future, but I'd love to hear what you think about this one, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now. If you're doing this challenge, I hope it's going well. I'd like to hear about that too. For me, yesterday I realized, I just love to like overdo things, because doing a video a day, it just, you know, sometimes then I put the self-inflicted pressure, which is silly. It's all fun, really, all of it. So, but I was just watching a video about Inktober, and the person was saying the same thing I was thinking. He was saying that it doesn't, you've got to watch for that. You've got to kind of prepare for the idea that you may spend more time, and you have to set some boundaries and stuff and limits on it yourself so that you don't end up making your hobby into some kind of a chore, which is I'm not. But it's very interesting because some of those little thoughts had kind of gone through my mind like that. And it's true that we can go kind of off the deep end with these challenges, or we can keep it fun. And that's my aim, is to keep it fun for the whole rest of the time. Like it has been, like the first 11 or 12 days, it was just like cloud nine. So, and then, things happen like appointments and chores and dirty bathrooms. So I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you for hanging in there with me. Bye for now.